Thank you for having me here today to brief out some highlights of the Houston Police Department's FIFA World Cup 2026 planning efforts to prepare Houston for its role in this historic event. I'd like to briefly acknowledge here in the room with me today, we have Executive Assistant Chief Jessica Anderson as well as Captain Reese Hardy, who are instrumental in the plans. There's also a very large team that is doing all of the behind-the-scenes work, planning, and doing the day-to-day work. So I want to thank all of them for both for their presence and those who are not here for the work that they've done thus far. This is a reflection of their work. Houston has hosted many major events over the past decade to include the Super Bowl, NCAA Final Four, college football playoffs, and multiple Major League Baseball World Series games, including 2 victory parades. This slide is intended to highlight the sheer scale of the World Cup. As you can see, the average World Cup match is viewed by more than 10 times the viewership of many of these other major events. The average match even outpaces Super Bowl viewership by a wide margin. As the tournament moves into its playoff bracket, also known as the knockout rounds, the audience only grows to numbers that are pretty incredible, with 1.5 billion with a B people watching the 2022 World Cup final. Here you can see the overall schedule for the entire World Cup. There are 16 host cities across 3 countries, the United States, Mexico, and Canada. There are 104 matches in all, with the tournament taking place in 2 phases, the group play phase and the knockout rounds. The first matches will be in Mexico on June 11th, and the tournament championship will be in New Jersey on July 19th. For our part, Houston will host 7 matches in all, with 5 group play matches and 2 knockout round matches. The first match in Houston is on June 14th, and the last game will be a round of 16 knockout round, lucky for us, at noon on July 4th. The flags shown here represent the teams that are scheduled to play in Houston during the group play stage. There are 2 teams that are still yet to be determined because the tournament qualification will continue through March. Cabo Verde is notable as a first-time qualifier. The Netherlands is known for their enthusiastic fans who typically engage in a spectacular fan march. They are also a very competitive team. Germany has a strong team that is typically expected to go deep into the tournament. And Portugal is home to the most notable player, Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo has over 1 billion followers on social media, and his fans bring remarkable enthusiasm, and we will host Portugal not once but twice. We are guaranteed to host 4 matches at a minimum with top 10 teams and dynamic players and fans. The knockout round matches will surely be exciting for even the most casual soccer fans. With that basic understanding of the tournament as a whole, I'll move into an overview of the police department's safety and security planning. And as mentioned earlier, this is meant to be a high-level presentation. A number of details are law enforcement sensitive, and so this might not be the forum to answer some detailed questions, but I'll do the best that I can at the end. This slide represents the organizational structure to show the diverse areas of planning. Looking at the bottom row, you can see designated leads for the major areas of planning, which are broken down by discipline and major functions. The law enforcement and public safety planning falls under me. Transportation, fire and medical, private security, and emergency operations center coordination are the other major areas of planning, with leadership provided by HFD, OEM, Transtar, the host committee, and the chief medical officer for the Houston FIFA operations. We have crosstalk between groups within each discipline as well as across various disciplines. There are multiple work groups assigned to each of us as we have to carve up the work. It's truly a monumental task planning for this event. For each of the work groups under the law enforcement and public safety sections, I'm also proud to share that we have co-leads from regional partner agencies, and we have taken a multidisciplinary approach to command control, communications, and coordination. Above the 5 major planning leads that you see at the bottom of the org chart, there is a structure that serves to guide our efforts as needed. The Houston Host Committee provides the connection between local planning efforts and FIFA. The Houston Leadership Committee has diverse representation from multiple agencies and disciplines in the region. It assists with answering major questions that cannot be answered within the confines of each major area of planning. And the Houston Executive Committee provides senior leadership and is the final arbiter of those decisions when we need some tiebreaker decision making. This slide shows just a partial snapshot of the partners who have a role in our FIFA World Cup planning. I do not have the time to name all of our partner agencies, and I apologize in advance for not doing so. On the law enforcement side, our local partners include the Harris County Sheriff's Office, the Metro Police Department, Department of Public Safety, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and many others. OEM, TDEM, and CETRAC will provide essential regional visibility and coordination. As a SEER 2 event, we will also have substantial support from multiple federal agencies. A federal coordinating team has been designated to connect our planning work groups to the appropriate resources. There are some resources that simply are not available at the local level or are not available at the scale required to support this size special event. I'd also like to point out that we have participated in numerous exercises with these partners, with a few more still on the calendar. These exercises help us build a robust, multidisciplinary, common operating picture so that we can have confidence in all our all-hazards plans and preparations. From the law enforcement perspective, they give us a better understanding of the other areas of operations, and they have stress-tested our structure, communications, strategy, and tactics. Each exercise provides an opportunity to true up our planning from its current state from a global perspective rather than just from the confines of our individual areas of expertise. And I can't thank our partners enough for their participation and support. We regularly see these partners show up. They're spending their time to help build these plans. Partnership is both essential, but in our region, it is also exceptional, and we've been noted for our regional cooperation by other host cities. NRG Stadium will be transformed to Houston Stadium when FIFA arrives. Like any of our previous major special events, there will be a fan activation zone. This zone will be open on game days only, and the hours will extend both before and after each match. The extended hours of the fan activation will assist with crowd management by allowing the crowd a longer amount of time to spread out both their ingress and their egress. Similar to previous major events like the College Football Playoff Championship game, there will be road closures in and around NRG Park. Details of the road closure plan will be finalized in the coming months, but all discussions thus far look very similar to the plans that we have used in the past. We will also have additional tactical support to provide a robust security posture. Some of these assets are more visible, like supplemental crowd control, while others are more discrete tactical assets. The scale and details of those deployments are law enforcement sensitive, but I assure you that our planning is from an all hazards perspective, and we are working hard to mitigate any and all vulnerabilities. In this picture, you can see an example of a fan march from the Netherlands team with their classic orange pride. Fan marches are a part of soccer culture with varying degrees of participation depending on the team. At this juncture, we do not know how many team fan bases will actually engage in a fan march. Our plans assume that we will have to manage at least one fan march for each match, though it is possible that we will have games with 2 matches and others with none. We will scale our operations based on intelligence. Thus far, FIFA has been able to support our planning with insight into fan behaviors for each team. Each team truly has its own culture, its own following, and we have to look at them as unique entities. Even so, we will have to be flexible enough to adjust to unplanned assemblies, and we will staff with sufficient personnel to allow for contingency planning, particularly on game days. This is a bird's eye view of the FanFest footprint. It is adjacent to the home of our own Houston Dash and Dynamo, the Shell Energy Stadium. The footprint is roughly from Polk to Texas Avenue and between Hutchins and Emancipation. The fan experience will have a capacity between 5,000 and 7,500 visitors. Every day that a game is played during the tournament, regardless of location, the FanFest will be open. This means that we will support roughly 34 days of FanFest operations. The design of the FanFest is intended to give people a place to see and experience the World Cup without needing a match ticket. It is not designed to be a place where visitors will stay all day. Rather, they will see games on video boards and enjoy some of the usual fan activation experiences before exiting to the adjacent Edo area. The area in blue is where we expect to have heavy pedestrian traffic. Our plans provide a secure space for the pedestrian traffic and will require road closures during peak operational hours. And finally, I want to point out that the planning does not stop at the stadium and FanFest. We will have hotels to manage as teams travel to and from Houston. For those unaware, teams live and train at base camps when they are not traveling to or playing in a match. At this time, Houston does not have a team assigned to us as a base camp. However, an additional 6 teams will qualify for the tournament between now and the end of March. It is possible that Houston could host one of these late qualifying teams. We do have plans already developed to address the security requirements of hosting a base camp, and for now we will have to wait to see whether or not we'll be a host city. When we reach the knockout phase of the tournament, we will likely begin to see teams spending more time in Houston leading up to their match. With or without a base camp, we will have security obligations for the training facilities when teams come to Houston to play. Practices are closed to the public. Even so, some teams will draw significant numbers of fans to their training sites, and we will be prepared to manage those crowds. We expect to have advance notice of each team's itinerary, including their training schedule, so we will have the opportunity to staff and manage those events accordingly. And of course, we expect to see an increase in airport throughput during this time. For our part, you can expect to see increased presence both at Hobby and IAH, as well as increased traffic control at the airports. We expect to see an increase in international travelers, but we should not underestimate the interest of the American fans. The United States regularly ranks as the top ticket purchasing nation during each World Cup, so do not underestimate the impact on domestic travel. We have already drafted base plans to support our major airports as they represent both a first and last impression for our guests. As we get closer to the tournament, the Houston airport system will be able to provide us updates on ticketing and flights, allowing us to scale operations as well. This concludes my presentation, and I'm sure there are questions, so I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Chief. Councilmember Ramirez.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks for the presentation, Chief Howard. Question about the fan marches. Will you have a plan that includes, for instance, designating an area or a roadway for fan marches if fans of a particular country want to do that?
Yes, so, just some general information. In order to have the numbers that these groups like to have, there's open communication about what their intentions are, and we have already had some communications with countries about their intentions, and so there's a lot of coordination and collaboration, and we're working on providing recommended paths, and to the extent that we can, we're going to provide guidance. I expect a lot of compliance with that. Just because they want to have a good experience. It's a representation of, them showing up for their nation. So we certainly will have a plan. We have some rough ideas of plans that we are proposing, but we have to be open to other requests. So all of that is very much in progress, very early stages. We're waiting for countries to start sending representatives to Houston, and we'll be able to get into further detail on those plans as they arrive.
And have you studied how other cities have handled the fan marches?
Yes, there's been a lot of research that's gone into this. Within the U.S., we do see fan marches at different scales. And just to give an example, when the Dodgers come to Houston to play the Astros, they always select someplace downtown and they march as a very large group to Dyken Park. So we're not totally unfamiliar with this. We have done a lot of research to see how they are managed in other countries, in Europe. The dynamic is a little bit different here in that those stadiums very often are in the middle of kind of a bustling area with pubs. So the location of NRG doesn't have that same dynamic, and we understand how they're done elsewhere. And we're also applying what's unique to Houston and trying to make sure that we have plans to adjust and recommendations so that there's a positive experience, but one that also does not create unintended problems for Houston.
Great. Thank you for your work.
Councilmember Alcorn.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks for the presentation. On the money side, we get reimbursed for all of this, some of this? How much? How does it work?
Yep. So that is still in progress. Funding was allocated over the summer with congressional funds, and there are a couple of different grants that will support. I do have an ask of council, and that is when requests for council action come forward with those grants. We just ask for timely approval because we can only do so much right now pending the funding. But I expect all the Houston Police Department's overtime expenses and equipment expenses to be covered.
Great news. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no one else in the queue. Thank you, Chief, for the presentation.